You are listening to Therapist Unplugged for straight talk on life, relationships, and mental health. I am your host, Laurie Poole, licensed professional counselor with the Montfort Group in North Dallas. Each episode will feature the unplugged views of guests and fellow therapists as we navigate hot topics, therapy trends, and the world around us. Welcome, everybody, to Therapist Unplugged. And today's unscripted episode is all about Valentine's Day with my friend and colleague, Heather Caballero. And we are going to call it Love Without the Script.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time of year. First of all, February is National Heart Month, right? Like the American Heart Association has
Yeah.
identified
And
February as
also
Heart Month.
National Black History Month as well.
Thank you very much. It certainly is. And on top of that all, we have Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And not that hearts and Black history and love and Valentine's Day should at any point be sort of compared one to the other. I guess one could. But anyway, for the purpose of this episode, it all came about because we were talking about Valentine's Day, and it is not always a very happy, celebratory kind of a day for people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought, okay, well, what can we talk about in terms of celebrating Valentine's Day a little bit differently? And I know, Heather, you have an unconventional view or relationship with Valentine's Day. So I'm just going to read this little intro and then let's just dig in.
Sounds good.
Okay, Valentine's Day tends to tell a very narrow story about what love should look like: romantic partner, big gestures, public proof. But real love is messier, quieter, and more personal. This episode invites listeners to question the script and design a day that actually fits their life, relationships, and season. And so, with that, Heather, why don't you kick us off and share a little bit about what your unconventional relationship with Valentine's Day is like?
Yeah, so I should start by saying that Valentine's Day, ever since I was little, has always been one of my absolute favorite holidays.
Okay.
I love Valentine's Day. And I was never really dating all through middle school, high school. So I was never dating someone during Valentine's Day. And I
Hmm.
feel like I was constantly around like a lot of narrative and response from like my
Hmm.
peers kind of being like, like if you aren't dating someone, then it's a sad holiday, or like what's the point of the day?
Hmm.
I feel like even then in high school there was a particularly like polarizing stance on it. It was either
Hmm.
kind of a day to like show off that you were in a relationship or to kind of lament that you weren't. Um, and so me being someone who was like really excited for Valentine's Day, um, and single was rare.
Hmm.
Um, but this has stuck with me like forever. But I would always do things like bring chocolates and I'm just like passing them out to all my friends, giving like gifts and cookies to like the people I'm close to. To me, it was almost like you know how birthdays are a day that you can just like really like celebrate a person that you care about.
Hmm.
To me, Valentine's Day was almost like a bonus birthday for all the people that I love. It was just kind of like a day that you could celebrate the fact that they're in your life.
Right.
Um, and so, you know, I'm a gifty person, so I'm like bringing chocolate around. I'm passing it around to friends and acquaintances at school. And I remember one of my acquaintances, someone I wasn't particularly close to, but we would like chat, um, being like, "Oh, I've never gotten chocolate on Valentine's Day before." Like that was a first for him. And
Mm.
like he was so touched by it, even though it wasn't a romantic gesture. It was
Hmm.
just like someone thought of me and like
Exactly. Yeah.
gave me something. And like,
Thoughtfulness,
yeah, and that was
being
just like a really
remembered.
powerful moment. And I've always remembered that. Um, because to me it was almost like a simple casual routine, but
Yeah.
it made an impact.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, even when I was in a relationship, I pretty much waitressed all through college and grad school. So
Hmm.
Valentine's Day was a very busy work night.
Yep.
Um, and so we never ever celebrated Valentine's Day on the day. Um, and it was like a hot button topic for people to kind of be like, "Oh, what are you doing for Valentine's
Hmm.
Day?" like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, and so even the times, like I feel like I would be like, "Oh, I'm working." They'd be like, "Oh, poor you," like kind of thing about it. Um, but honestly, even when we're not working, like on Valentine's Day night, my husband and I, we loathe going out on Valentine's Day because we hate crowds.
Hmm.
So we're like, not for us. Outside the day is gonna be how we do it forever. But I do remember there being this like external feeling of pressure of like,
Yeah.
you should have plans on Valentine's Day to like for me to believe that you're in a good relationship.
Right.
And I've
Yeah.
always found that really interesting.
It is interesting because when you think about it, it's a hallmarky kind of a day.
Mm,
I grew up in an era where there were, for example, in elementary school, there would be a big box at the front of the classroom,
hmm.
and all the kids would put their Valentine's cards in. And, you could see who got some cards, who got a lot of cards, who didn't get many cards. It was really quite a heartbreaking exercise, to be honest with
Wow.
you. And so I think that Valentine's Day has both negative and positive connotations, but I wonder if it is really about sort of thinking about connection more than it is the expression of love, but connecting with people like that person who you gave chocolate to who had never received chocolate on Valentine's Day. It's just a kind of way of affirming, whether it's with as a woman going out with your girlfriends or inviting people over for dinner. I think there's so many different ways to rethink Valentine's in a way that doesn't have to be associated with, oh, if I don't have a significant other, then I miss out on celebrating the day, or there's something wrong with me, or there's a sense of shame or embarrassment, um, because and you know what, frankly, not everybody wants to celebrate it, and that's okay. Like,
Hmm.
honestly, at the end of the day, couldn't Valentine's Day be every day? Isn't it sort of a reminder of sharing with people that you care about them, that you acknowledge them, that
Yeah.
you do something maybe a little extra to let them know that they mean something to you, regardless of gender, but that this is just how we connect with and express ourselves with loved ones or people that we genuinely care about, whether it's coworkers or friends or family or what have you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I really like sort of the point of celebrating it in a way that works for you. Because it's kind of like, everyone's wedding looks different based on what's personal and valuable to them. But it kind of reminds me a little bit about how I feel about New Year's. Um, because like it's kind of like you said, like it could be every day, right?
Mhm.
But I think similarly about New Year's in the sense that like the like re-upping of goals that New
Mhm.
Year's kind of gives us, the refocusing. We, I think, tend to thrive on having some kind of ritual,
Mhm.
some kind of something that turns us back to things that maybe we've
Mhm.
forgotten about or let go onto the back burner. And like, I think everyone has different opinions about how useful it is for them to like make that a priority every year, um, or to kind of like make that holiday the time that they do that.
Mhm.
But I do think that at its best, what Valentine's Day is does for people is that it kind of helps turn attention back towards the love that's in their life, whether that's romantic or platonic or otherwise.
Yeah.
And just kind of to say, like, hey, this thing, have you been paying attention to this?
Mhm.
I do think that all like on the other side of that, at its worst, it can feel like an obligation of like checking off a box of I have done the proof, the things that like we can tell our
Yeah.
friends that we did,
Yeah.
um, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I am interested always when I'm working with clients or like really thinking about it in general to be like, how can I turn towards the pieces that
Mhm.
are what it's trying to put forward at its best.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's very, very fair. What kinds of how have you celebrated in the past? Like I'm trying to think of, are there ways to celebrate Valentine's Day? And I'm like flipping around here. For people who want to celebrate Valentine's Day their way,
Hmm.
um, are there ways that you and maybe your husband have celebrated or you've celebrated with other friends that are maybe a little bit outside the box or something a little different? You're laughing,
I
so
do
I'm
have a
like,
good story.
okay,
Um,
tell me.
so actually, now this is, I'm pretty sure it was our very first Valentine's Day together. Um, Oh, this is a whole separate story, but the footnote is that I'd had like a really stressful event happen that morning. Um, and I was kind of in like a bad mental space. Um, my partner was too, and so we were just kind of like, all right, we just need to like get out of this space with my
Mhm.
roommates, kind of thing. And we're like driving around. We're like, what can we do? We end up at a Best Buy, just like looking around. Um, and Josh, he picks up the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And we end up going somewhere to watch it. And it was just kind of like, all right, we're purposefully trying to like tune out all the stress and like just, this is a super silly movie, just trying to like lift our spirits. And that ended up being like becoming a Valentine's Day tradition for us, where every year we're like, we've
Okay,
got to rewatch Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
a
Um,
classic.
because I think for me, it's a reminder of like really how we would make the best of a bad situation
Hmm.
together. And that's something I really value. And also
Yeah,
it feels like a silly little tradition, but not usually what people associate with things like Valentine's Day.
right. Exactly. Exactly. I think too that people will say, take care of yourself, like do things for yourself that you might do with a significant other.
Hmm.
Have a nice dinner, pour a glass of wine, buy yourself some flowers. But I love the idea too of those sort of off the, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the norm, off the beaten path type of traditions. And also maybe something else to think about is how do you express love and appreciation for someone who maybe doesn't get a lot of it?
Hmm.
you know and I think we can all think of people in our lives who we think might be a little bit lonely or who are missing family, who live in a city where they don't know a lot of people, that kind of thing. Maybe doing like a potluck dinner where everybody brings food that they love, you
Hmm.
know, um, or maybe you have a chocolate themed something or other, or a red themed something or other in food and desserts, or a
Hmm.
game night. I think those kinds of things and experiences, activities can really make a big difference just to do something that is not associated with the tradition of Valentine's.
Yeah, and I think the question I'd love to have people kind of ask themselves as they're looking to try and celebrate Valentine's Day in a way that fits for them. And I return to this metaphor all the time that to me it's almost like getting to celebrate a birthday for all the people I love at once. It's kind of
Mhm.
like if we take away the association, all the connotations that come with Valentine's Day, and just say like, hey, what would you want to do for yourself on your birthday? Or
Mhm.
like, what if you and all your friends shared a birthday? Like, what would you guys want to do together to just
Mhm.
like get together and celebrate each other?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes that helps reframe it just the teensiest bit, um, and hopefully help bring forward the like, what would make you feel good?
Yes. No, exactly. And I think what you're saying too is it's the celebration of connection and
Mhm.
camaraderie. And it doesn't have to be a heterosexual romantic partner, which is the traditional view of Valentine's, right? It doesn't have to be that way. It can be an expression of love for people with whom you have relationships or who you have a special connection with. And
Mhm.
if maybe we reframe it that way, including, by the way, the connection with yourself.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe
And
it's an indulgent, like, a bottle of wine and binge watching, I don't know, your favorite movies with your favorite actor or something. I
Mhm.
mean, there could be a lot of things that one could do,
100%.
that just feels very comforting and relaxing and celebratory.
Yeah. And it's like, I think one of the things too that I tend to hear that is like a negative side of Valentine's Day for a lot of people is the feeling that like, oh, gifting is required. Um,
Mm,
that like giving things like chocolates and flowers and plushies and stuff, that's a part of it. And I think the question comes down to like, are you someone who naturally wants to show love with gifts? Because usually I find that some people who love gifts on Valentine's Day, they tend to be the people who just love gifts as
yes,
as shows of love. And the people who
right.
feel negatively about it, it's because they feel pressured to try and show love in a language that isn't native.
Yeah.
And so I think kind of giving yourself permission to be like, what love language does feel most accurate? Is it words? How can I really show with my words that I love myself, that I love my friends, that I love my
Hmm.
partner? How can I lean into quality time or acts of service or whatever it may be? And just kind of let that language that is yours and your partner's shine more so than the narrative of this is the way you show love on Valentine's Day.
Right. Yeah. I think you raise a really good point about the love languages. I mean, if there was ever a time of year that it's appropriate, it's like, what is it that makes you feel the most loved?
Hmm.
What is the kind of love you like to share?
Yeah.
And for those listeners who may be unfamiliar with what we're referring to, there is a book called The Five Love Languages that most couples come into my office quoting.
Mhm.
And it's become part of I guess, the common descriptors that people use about how they want to be loved and how they show love. But I mean, there's some really good stuff in there.
Mhm.
Well, I think the main theme of this episode is do Valentine's Day your way, whatever that
Mhm.
means for you. Try not to succumb to the pressure of it should be this, it could be that, but
Mhm.
let's look at what is. Who do
Yeah.
you want to have around you? Maybe you don't want anybody. Maybe it's your cat, a good book and a blanket
Mhm.
and a glass of wine or a cup of tea. Maybe it's lying in bed for the day. Maybe it's never getting out of your pajamas. Like who knows?
Yeah.
But I think that the message here is do it your way
Mhm.
and stay away from negative self-talk about what you think it should be. Just enjoy the day.
Yeah, and I think one tiny tidbit I want to tack on as well is that like, and this comes back to, I think for me sometimes the like people constantly asking like, what are your plans for Valentine's Day? Or what did you do
Mhm.
for Valentine's Day? Um, and it can feel sometimes like if your plan that is what you want is a good book with a blanket and your cat kind of thing, that like other people will look down on that. And so the one tip I would give just for being able to have that conversation and still feel like you're coming from a place of like, yeah, I'm proud of this and I enjoy this,
Mhm.
to really start off with like, oh, I had a great time. This is what I did and I needed it kind of thing. Or
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm really looking forward to it. Lead with that because
Yeah.
it's hard for people to then be like, oh, you poor thing, or like, that sounds like a bad time. Maybe they'll be like, not what I would do. And that's fine because they're a different person.
Or they'll be relieved. Sorry to interrupt you,
No,
Heather.
you're fine.
I was just going to say, or they'll be relieved to know that you're going to do exactly what you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am going to have a great day. I have planned a bubble bath. I've got candles lined up. I've got my best
Hmm.
music, and I can hardly wait to get in the tub. That's how I'm celebrating
Yeah.
Valentine's Day, and it's a very that's an example of self-love when you get into a hot bath. Well, maybe not for everybody, but it's. Um, anyway, Heather, thank you so much for tossing around some ideas about how we can make Valentine's Day our own. And we wish everyone out there a day of connection, warmth, and make it a good one.
Hmm. Hmm.
The Montfort Group aims to provide a serene, calming setting where you can feel challenged, supported, and motivated. Our skilled therapists bridge specialized backgrounds and varied philosophies together to create one unified strategy. Rather than steer you away from your own natural abilities, we help you maximize your unique strengths to uncover the boldest version of yourself. We do not view a broken history as the end of a story. We see it as an opportunity for a new beginning. To learn more about our practice and how we can help you, please visit us at themontfortgroup.com.